Okay, so now I'm going to work with an exact solution. Cos of x is minus 1 over root 2, but the domain is between minus pi and pi. Now this is very special, and there's a few steps that if you follow these, you'll be fine. The first one is we notice that this is this domain. So I always like to draw it. And remembering when you're doing your cos and your sine, you draw your little guidelines of 1 and minus 1. We go pi over 2 pi. And we're going to do minus pi over 2 and minus pi. So keep those in mind. I'm going to leave this up here because you'll find when we do cos, it looks like this. And it's always good to draw your little zeros in. So this is what we're looking at from here to here. Now this will make a lot more sense as we go along. So let's have a look at the first thing I do, apart from drawing the graph, is I check this out. Now the negative, what does that tell you? We can draw our little circle here. You guys should be doing this in your sleep. From pi over 2, which is 90, 180, which is pi, 270, which is 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi, which is 360. Then you should always draw in your vertically opposite, which is your theta, 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 theta. Now when we're going from 0 around to 2 pi, that's anti-clockwise. We know in this quadrant, which is all students take chemistry, it's 180, and we're going closer to 90, so we minus theta. This one in quadrant 2, in quadrant 3, is going from here to here, not from here to here, which will be 270 minus theta, it's 180 plus theta. And this one is going from there to there, which is quadrant 4, 360 minus theta. So when we see cos is negative, what does that tell us? It tells us that we're only going to be in quadrants 2 and quadrant 3. Now if you have a look down here at the graph, this is something that they don't probably point out. Have a look from 0 to pi, cos, they're all positive. From 90 to 180, cos is negative. And then from 180 to 270, cos would be here, which is also negative. And then cos from 270 to 360 goes back to positive. That's where it all comes from. I like drawing this because you can see where the solutions are going to be. They're going to be here and here. Now that's in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3 when we're looking at 0. So we'll do 0 to pi. So the other thing we need to know is this. We know that root 2 is from this triangle, 1, 1, and it's 45. So we know that cos of pi over 4 is equal to 1 over root 2. So that's my little value that I'm going to be playing with in this circle. So let's have a look. The other thing I do, so number 1, look at the negative sign. Have a look at what your angle is going to be. Have a look at which quadrants it is and draw your graph. Do all that first. Doesn't take long, and as you keep on doing it, it just becomes normal. Then the easiest way to do this, if it was 0 to 2 pi, easy. It's just those. We'd only do 180 minus and 180 plus, but it's not. It's actually from 0 to pi. So let's split it. We'll do that first because that's that way. Minus pi is that way. You could be told minus pi, 0 to minus 2 pi will be all that way. So let's have a look at this one. I'll draw it nice and big here. This is this half of the circle. All students and we know that that's theta, and that's theta, that's 180 or pi, and we're going to there. So it's 180 minus theta, or pi minus theta. Because that's in radians, we also must do the answer in radians. Two ways you can do it: leave it as degrees and change it at the end. If they say leave it as exact values, you leave it with your pi's or do it as decimals. I like to do it both ways. So here I know that cos of x is 1 over root 2 negative. So in quadrant 2, from 0 to pi, x is going to be 180 minus 45. Now you can do it using that, or get used to doing it with your pi, your radians. This is just fractions. 4, if the denominators are 4, we just make that 4 over 4. And 4 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 is simply 3 pi over 4. And that's your first solution. Now that's only from 0 to pi. If you have a look from 0 to pi, from pi over 2 to pi, which is this one here, 90 to 180, which is quadrant 2. And if you have a look at it, that's quadrant 1, that's quadrant 2, that's quadrant 3, and that's quadrant 4. In quadrant 2, it's here. And if you have a look at it, if it was minus 1 over root 2, which is about 0.707, it's about here. And there is a solution there. Now that's from 0 to pi. So that's your first solution. Let's have a look at the other one now. This one is going to be from minus pi to 0. So let's redraw that. It's from minus pi through to 0. Now this is the bottom half because we're going from 0 and we're going this way. This way was anti-clockwise and it was 0 round to 360. The negative is we go this way, the opposite way. So this here, now very important, is minus 2 pi over 2 and minus pi. If you're going around, minus 3 pi over 2 minus 2 pi. So that's the first thing you have to draw. And the next thing is we still have these. So that's theta and theta. Now we know it's all students take chemistry. We only have a solution in quadrant 3. If you have a look, there's quadrant 1, there's quadrant 2, there's quadrant 3 going in the other direction. And there it is in quadrant 3. So we're on the right track. So we know that cos of x is minus 1 over root 2. We know this time we're in quadrant 3. If we're going fooling around to 270, it'd be in that quadrant 2, but it's only to minus pi. Now here, what are we going to write? Here it was 180 plus theta, 180 minus theta. Here we're at minus pi, which is here. Now we're going this way to about here. So we're going from minus pi closer to 0, which is getting bigger. Going that way, we add. So it's minus pi plus theta. When we're going in the minus pi, the negative direction, and we're in this quadrant, we're going from here to here, which is minus pi, and we're adding theta because we're getting closer to the 0. Write that down every time. It's the same as sort of that because we're adding theta, but we're at minus pi. So in this one, cos x is minus pi over 3, minus 1 over root 2. So x is going to be in this quadrant minus pi plus pi over 4. Now this is probably one of the hardest ones to explain. Why is it plus? Why isn't it minus? Because here it's minus 1 going this way. But you're going this way and you're getting closer to 0. This direction on the number line, you add. So let's have a look. Again, we do the same thing. Minus 4 pi over 4 plus pi over 4 is minus 3 pi over 4. And if you have a look, that's about there. So there's our solutions there and there. Looks nice. And remember, you must always write down an answer in word form. Solutions are 3 pi x is equal to 3 pi over 4 and minus 3 pi over 4 in that domain. I hope that makes sense, and I'll put on the next one a little bit later. But that's just recapping. I hope it's clear enough this time. Any questions, you can make comments on my videos.